Alright, what's up guys? Welcome back. Today's Friday. Hope you guys had a wonderful Friday. I had a beautiful Friday. It was delicious. Why do I say that? Because I had a huge feast this morning. I had waffles. What I had this morning? I had waffles, cereal, chicken tenders. Then I had some garlic bread, a lot of garlic bread, and a large lot of liquids, mostly milk. It was actually all milk. It was delicious. It was a lot of food. It was good. But enough about my breakfast, brunch, dinner type thing. Let's jump right into the topic. And today's topic is school shootings. Why they happen, why they're increasing, and what's going on. It's kind of a heavy topic, and so, watch as you will. I do kind of bash on parents a bit, and I do kind of talk about bullying and how it's kind of necessary, at least why I believe it is. So, without further ado, let's jump right into this. So, school shootings have been increasing and increasing and increasing, and at a rather alarming rate. Since the 1940s, they've been upping and upping and upping. So 1940s, there was only about 13 recorded incidents. 1970s, there was 24. 1980s, there was 33. And then with the 1990s, you start seeing a jump. It goes 37, and then 2000 to 2010, it's 48. And from 2010 to 2014, there was 103, give or take a few, recorded cases of school shootings. You may notice that there's a huge jump, and it starts jumping up, jumping up, and jumping up. And the reason for this is, I believe, is from the 1980s. Now, if you don't know, the early 1980s, there was this huge thing about child abuse. It was pushed over everywhere. If you kind of disciplined your kid, it was almost labeled as child abuse, and many kids were taken away from parents and we put in foster care, and it was this huge thing. So when that happened, many parents became fearful and no longer kind of punished their kids, up to a point where there was no punishment at all. There was no yelling at them, no verbal abuse, no physical abuse, no putting them in a corner type thing. There was nothing. And that became kind of the norm. And so parents have been switching over to a new parenting style of, I guess, becoming a friend to their kids rather than actually being a parent to them and having to discipline them and having to be bad to them and having to see them kick and scream. So that being said, kids were never taught that stuff was bad. Around the age 2 is when kids should be taught that. The terrible 2 phase, if parents, you know about this, kids, you'll find about this hopefully in the future, not anytime soon. The terrible 2 phase is when kids should be disciplined and when they should be taught that stuff is wrong. This is the prime time in their life when they're psychologically developed to learn their place in society. Kids kind of act out to more or less push their, seeing how much they can get, and when they're put back down in their place, they kind of learn the reaction to stuff. They learn that stuff is bad. They learn what they can and can't do. And if you may notice that kids at 2 overreact to everything. If they get told no, they scream out and want to just hurt and throw and yell and throw a tantrum everywhere. And then eventually, as they grow and grow, they learn this is not the right way to do it. They have to learn how to control their impulses. They have to learn how to go on without it. And the abuse and the physical abuse that parents give their children is actually kind of necessary. Now, I'm not saying go abuse them, but punishment was actually kind of, as being seen, necessary. This also goes into the thing of parents also started to over-nurture their children, and to where that actually hurt their esteem. If you notice, a lot of sports teams, a lot of stuff, everybody gets a trophy. First place undefeated team, last place 0-win team, both get the same size trophy. This kind of creates a huge psychological impact in people's brains because there's really no consequence for failure and there's no prize for success. What I mean by that is, why would I want to try hard being last place if I get the same trophy as first place? And the other side of that, if I'm first place, what's the point of being first place if I can be last place and get the same size trophy? So it kind of, people lose that drive. People lose that motivation to go forward. And so with that happening, people no longer know what's right and wrong. They no longer have a drive to do anything anymore and become often bored and agitated. This keeps going on and on and on to where, say you get to high school age and you get to age where it's happening and stuff, you no longer have that control the impulse. And so when someone makes you mad, your first instinct is just to react and punch them or kill them. And that's what we're seeing. Most recorded cases in 2010, 2014 were simple acts of impulse. Not a lot of people were killed, so that's why a lot of them happen a lot more, but 2 or 3 people were injured, 2 or 3 people were shot in the head and killed. And this all happened after an argument or someone insulting somebody or somebody getting bad grade on a test, or there was a lot of small issues that happened that people resulted in getting injured or killed. And this is because they didn't know what's right and wrong. They didn't have that impulse control that they should have developed. It's often known that you have experiences, so you know how to learn from those experiences. So if you never had the experience of bad, you don't know that anything's bad. So you keep growing from that, and everything seems okay, and you're going to lash out like you were a 2-year-old. That thing, like some people saying you're acting like a 2-year-old, in this case is actually kind of true because you never grew up from that. So that being said, let's move on to some other reasons why that kind of add to this factor. So here in the United States, we kind of have a high gun accessibility type thing, where 89 per 100 people have a gun. So that means in about 90% of houses have guns. So they're kind of accessible, but and then most kids at that point are not also told how to handle the guns. So they kind of have this easy accessible to gun. There's no impulse control. It makes it very simple. Another thing that also adds to it is that bullies. Now, if you may notice that there's a lot more anti-bully policies that have been happening since 2000. Bullying has been shot down, and it also has been kind of hated on, and there's no more bullying happening anywhere. If you get in a fight, it's done. You get put away. You get all sent to, like, ASMI school, it's APEP, and you got in trouble right away. But bullying and that kind of stuff needed to happen. That's where people let out their steam. That's when people did stuff. So if I got a fight in school, me and that person are going to have our beef, get in a fight, and it's going to be over. But if it's broken up before the fight happens, and we're both put in a room for 3 days straight to think about what happened, we're obviously going to get more agitated, more grow up because nothing was solved. On top of that, bullying also kind of created a society within a school to where people were in their place. People were known where they were, where they stood, and where it happens. So that whole like stereotype of bullies and then cool people and jocks and nerds and stuff that actually kind of helped keep people from school shootings, because even if a nerd was bullied heavily, he would never think about trying to act against that bully because it was kind of his place. He knew that he was a nerd. He knew where it was. He knew where he stood. Granted, it's terrible that it happens, and I wouldn't say over-bully him or anything of that sense. But because bullies had a certain X and the jocks were in their certain thing, and everyone kind of knew where they stood. In today's society, there's no real clear defining line for anything, and anybody can do anything. So with any random fight, it doesn't matter what happens. It just kind of happens. So this is all kind of bad, and I know I'm saying almost child abuse is okay and go bully everybody. That's not what I'm saying. Definitely limit for everything, and definitely not what I'm saying. So, we should definitely look at what we're doing. Yes, it's good to be friends, and yes, it's good to make good relationships and stuff, but sometimes being put in the place is what needs to happen. That's what every animal kingdom does. That's what every society happens. School shootings happen, yes, because of easier accessibility to stuff, because maybe media is getting more violent. Really quickly on that sense, media is also not getting more violent. If you look at the 1980s, 1970s, those huge action heroes, way violent. We just have video games now. So it's kind of like nothing's more violent. It's the same stuff. It's been going on for years. Plus 1940s, 1950s, huge wars going on, Vietnam, World War II, World War I. Like even way back then, there was stuff violent happens. It's gonna happen. So that's not a thing either. I've been talking for like 8 minutes now, and this is all kind of just free roaming, so I forgot what points I even made anymore. But I'll close now. School shootings are happening, and we need to stop them. And in my opinion, anti-bullying cases and stuff like that, it's not the way to go. People need to be put where they belong. People need to know what's right and wrong. People need to know if I talk out, it's going to have consequences. People need to know if I'm mean to somebody, that it could have consequences back, and that everybody needs to know how to deal with those. And that's what we need to teach better, is how to deal with situations rather than just ignoring the problems. So with that being said, I will see you guys later. Hope you guys have a wonderful week, wonderful day. Don't just like, comment, and subscribe. And what do you feel? What do you feel about school shootings and bullying and all that good stuff and parenting styles? Let me know what you guys think. If you made it this far, let me know what you think. I'll see you guys later. Bye.